Hi, I didn't realize my hair was standing up on end. Well, early morning. I'm basically sitting here with you in my office until until the top of the hour. I think I have one more minute before. Oh, it's the top of the hour now, and I haven't done it on my computer in a long time, so I'm not quite sure how how it'll sort itself out. My topic today is capacity. I had the opportunity to be on a half-hour call with a man who went to jail, PTSD moment of his life, went to jail for at the age of 35, and he's now 72. And he was talking to me about how how if you can't develop your life inwardly, you can't really express your life outwardly. So I took some notes about what he does. He has two 18-month courses in the prison that he runs. One is for PTSD, for childhood abuse, and being able to work with people that have experienced it. And then he does another, and you graduate from these courses. And he does another 18-month course, which is about the people, the men, um, writing their victims, having their victims write them back, writing a full disclosure of their entire lives. Wouldn't it be something if we had the opportunity to do that work? He also has a veteran group. He's also on Suicide Watch. He's part of the hospice crew. He does 2 meditations a week, and he does city yoga, and he also does 6 groups of 8 men uh, once a week. So this phenomenon of um, being is something we don't have to do what he does. We just we just we just have to remember that or think about what is the capacity that this man carries. What is the what capacity has he developed being incarcerated for 38 years from the age of 35 when in a PTSD blackout he killed his fiancée? What does he pay attention to? How does he lead a structured life that in every moment, regardless of circumstances, gives value? It's a curious thing to think. With COVID having happened and us having to shelter in place and us not being as active, somewhat incarcerated for the past time, I'm curious what we did. Did we wait our time out? Did we use it to develop our strength, stamina, capacity for any circumstance in our life? Did we, were we afraid? Not that being afraid is wrong. And how do we channel that fear? Um, One of the things that, as we move forward in the next few years, that's going to be increasingly important is for human beings to develop their stamina for being alive, regardless of circumstances, for human beings to develop their capacities for being with themselves in such a way that they're tapping the most rich, beautiful, wondrous aspects of themselves. So, regardless of what gets thwarted in your life or what dreams you had that might not meet your expectation, there's something about self study and the development of one's own soul one's own psyche that has a very fortuitous um, aspect to it, a very important and deeply necessary. And then how do we develop strength for what's before us, particularly the unknown? How do we do that? What are your what do you do to tend to your everyday in such a manner that you're held in the warmth of your own heart and in the beauty of your own soul? It's a curious thing. It's a curious thing to begin to unwind ourselves from the outer world and begin to rewind ourselves into the inner world of ourselves, to be part of our own magic, to be part of our own skill, to be part of our own capacity, our own strength, our own stamina. Not an easy task, is it? Not easily done. And yet it is what is before us. The other thing is I have two situations with men that are very much at the effect of a broken system. One is this incredible man who's been incarcerated for 38 years, and because of the political landscape where he's incarcerated and certain people positional on the parole board, he remains incarcerated, even with all his time in, and even in other prison systems that are releasing people that are ill. He also is ill and releasing people for their good measures. And the other is a young man who has been deeply harmed financially and in business by his own family, members of his own family, men in his family. And one of the things I've noticed in both situations is that we're moving through a period of time. Imagine when you're trying to move a piece of concrete that has been deeply cemented into, let's say, a concrete patio. And it takes a bit. I was saying to him, the man in prison today, that I go to this real still point. I don't try to figure out how to fix something. I don't rail against it. Well, that's not true. Sometimes I do, just to get it out of my system. But I get very, very quiet. And in the creation exercises, I become the observer. I just stay present and I look for an opening. I look for something that will move everything to the next greater whole. And actually, until I said that, I didn't really realize that human beings' minds, because mine doesn't kind of work that way. It's not that it doesn't travel that way. It's just I can tell the futility of always trying to figure out how to fix something and how much it uses up your time. When truthfully, if you build your own strength, stamina, capacity for presence, for being present, for simply being present to what there is to be present to open up into what there is to open up into and find what there is to have. It's a way that you can create leverage. It's a way that you can look for openings. It's a way that you have the patience, like Tai Chi masters and martial arts masters, where they sit in this spatial stillness until their turn for movement comes. And in one movement, they can change a world. So I think another thing we could look at today is, what is your stillness monitor? How much spatial stillness are you capable of? That's really where you build capacity to be. But um, being isn't absence of doing. Being is the ability to be until you can see a movement, till you can hear a connection. And leverage is a kind of one up from being still and looking for the next movement of action. It's, the beta mind, the beta wave, which is 99% of what humanity is incarcerated in at the moment. It's good for chores and it's good for to-do list. It's not good for thinking. Thinking happens in the delta, alpha, theta realm. In all those realms, delta, high delta is meditation, low delta is sleep, alpha is intuition, listening beyond trying to figure out what to do, listening for the movement of life itself. And theta is pretty much receiving messages from out beyond what we know ourselves to be, because we're still and we're quiet enough to feel the guidance coming in from greater systems of reality. I woke up really weary today, not physically. I woke up spiritually weary today. And I knew that I needed to probably be outside this afternoon with the puppy and go to my new cardiac exercise clinic this afternoon. And I needed to cocoon myself like a butterfly or like a caterpillar, cocoon myself in the webbing of creations, in the silence of it, in the quiet of it, and let whatever was morphing through me have its day, have time to morph into more expanded perception, more deeper understanding, the ability to see in larger vistas again. When you're in that moment when you feel closed down or closed in, close down, close in, become a chrysalis. Whether you're doing chores or whether you're shopping, if you have that closed down feeling, use it. Use it to be in a moving meditation, meta state, a state of moving around on the planet in a chrysalis form, letting something within you morph, letting it percolate and transmute and transform. We have very good instincts. Our instincts, our sensitivities really know what they're doing. Mostly we override them. And there's going to be a lot of chrysalis moments now, a lot of um, forms that require, for emerging forms that require deep listening, require a deeper presence, require an ability on our part to relax and to be, and to really have more time resting and in the calm than hyperstimulated. Honest, I why did I wake up spiritually weary this morning? Because every now and then, as a seer and a prophetess, I see a wave come, another wave coming, just like I spent 7 years to prepare people for the wave in 2020. When I see another wave coming, there are things I want for human beings. I want them to be in the chrysalis of their own soul. I want them to be able to take the wave. I don't mean ride it, I mean take the hit, the impact of it. I want them to develop their capacity to be. I want them to consider that they can develop the skill set for being here during these years ahead. And they can develop capacities within themselves to be here in the years ahead. And that they can develop strength and stamina for the years ahead. Otherwise, we're at the effect of everything coming. I don't know about you, but I'm not geared to be very happy to be at the effect of anything. But I also know when you can't fight something, I'm going to be in a conversation, or I am in a conversation with these two beautiful men, and we're going to look. We're going to look and position ourselves to get leverage, to see if we can move into that Tai Chi or that martial art state of presence and keep a watchful eye on opportunities that might rise in the midst of things that look quite hopeless. I've been doing that with my body. I lost my dog. I moved out of California, moved to New Mexico, which was wonderful. But I also couldn't seem to get well. My lungs and my heart were just struggling, having a hard time, as well as my own emotional fatigue. So I form a chrysalis of my soul. I keep it safe and sacred within me. I listen patiently. I also listen with wonder, both wonders. I wonder what's happening and kind of the mystery before me, that kind of wonder. I let myself go through emotional stages of despair, of fear. I'd like to live with actually about 20 to 30 years longer if I could, but not compromised. My ability to relax and move into my preference and be able to create leverage for that preference, to build leverage. If you're not building your strength, stamina, capacity, if you're not building your ability to leverage situations that so they can operate on behalf of life, if you're only waiting to see what's going to happen, if you're only waiting to see how things are going to go, it's like being caught in the stirrup of a horse as it's dragging you across the desert. It's very life depleting, and it's not who we are as human beings. Our whole inner strength comes from our desire to be able for something. Everything is a training more than a recovery. You know, these two men who are in very, very, what at the surface level look like very hopeless situations, very cruel situations. They model many people in the United States of America and around the world that are in very bad situations, very cruel. And we have a lot of us that are not caught in a life defeating way in unworkable situations. We have the opportunity to build the strength, stamina, capacity for all life. Because inside of every human being, in Dominer they call it the divine spark. For me and every human being, there is a seed. That seed is the seed of all life. And for those of us that are not under crippling circumstances, that go to make our soul weary every day, we can go out and build our strength, stamina, capacity on behalf of all life. You know, after I got through my phone call with the gentleman in prison, I sat here inspired by his strength, stamina, capacity. And I settled myself in to my weariness. And I began to figure out what for me I could do today to stay present, regardless of what was going on in the feeling of weariness in my own soul. So I went out and talked to my housemaid and then opened up the dishwasher. And instead of just having a chore of putting the dishes away, I connected to the plates, I connected to the bowls, I connected to the shake jars we use for our shakes. I connected. I brought everything to bear in that one moment of activity that could just look like something useless. We're always looking for these highs, these wipe out the slate, no strength in the moment, no stamina in the moment, no connection in the moment, as if we're demanding, it's called addiction, by the way. We're demanding that the outer world give me, 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 meet my needs, meet my needs. We actually judge ourselves if our needs aren't met. How silly. We're all in a mel of a hess right now. We have a global cultural norm that is now collapsing beneath our very feet. Some of us are more at the effect of it than others, but all of us are feeling it. Our empathic response level is scaled beyond anything we could imagine. I was listening or reading a lot about the increase in the Schumann resonance. I was thinking even our solar system is agitated. Everything's agitated right now. Our physical systems are agitated right now. So it's really significant to go into your calm, into your depth of being, into the deeper nature of yourself. I haven't tried to do a Facebook Live on my computer for some time. I actually find it a bit unpleasant because I can't see those people that are on Facebook Live today, to the point I don't even know if it's videoing, if it's showing. I'm sure it is. It says it is. It says it is. I'm sure it is. But I'll probably be back on my phone next week so that I can be part of you and you can be part of me. But that's my message today. My message is to take on the possibility of even discovering what building strength, stamina, capacity is for you. Just take it on. For some, it's prayer. For some, it's keeping earbuds in their ears and listening to uh, life enhancing music. But please don't get lost in your thoughts. Please don't get lost in your problems. It'll wear you down. It'll use up your life and it'll use up your time. So, whatever you come across that's challenging right now, particularly that which seems impossible, seems unanswerable, find that quiet place within you, okay? Find your connection to a greater power. Find your connection to life. Ally. Ally with the miraculous. Ally with the greater powers that love humankind. Ally with your love for those that you love. Ally with the part of the kingdom that came here to build paradise. Be a good ally, not just a guest here. Be a good ally of life. It's so interesting to me because when I saw these years, I knew I could see the outer hardships that were coming, the disappointment in human beings that we would feel, the thinking that people cared when they didn't, watching people walk away, not realize the damage they left behind, terror, fear of the unknown, the inability to stay calm or relax because the circumstances are so, feel so life threatening, whether it's real life threatening or not, feels so impossible to deal with and so hard to think about living with the impossibility of what is occurring over a long period of time. The interesting thing is, while that is going on circumstantially in many instances, empathically it's going on all the time, whether our circumstances are challenging or not. We have returned to the one soul human. We have returned to being part of everything and everything being part of us. You know, You can say all you want new age wise that you can protect yourself from others or shield yourself from life. It's never been like that. That's like an insane statement. We've always been connected to life. We've always been at the effect of everything going on everywhere. We've always had to go inside and build our own strength, stamina, capacity in our direct union with the greater powers and forces of creation. We've had to have faith, not faith that something will save us, faith that we're an ally of life, faith that we can find out past the boundaries of our limited perception, that which can create a tipping point, that which can create leverage. There are all these sayings in the Bible of what Jesus said, but my favorite is stand at the door, knock, and it will be open to you. Stand at the door, keep knocking, be persistent. But before you get thrown by what looks like an impossible outcome, that where nothing will ever turn out, build your strength, stamina, capacity to be with what's so. Build it. Be an ally of possibility, an ally of potentiality. Be an ally of leverage. Be an ally of a moment opening up that gives you an action you can take to turn everything around. Georgia posted a video, which I posted on my personal Facebook page, um, about a man who loves a river, loves rivers, and how he did everything to save a river, and the river couldn't be saved. But out of that great loss and that great tragedy for him, other rivers were. Don't take yourself too cheaply. You may be bent, you may even be broken. But if you stay an ally of life, if you stay in touch with keep returning to building your strength, stamina, capacity for being alive, and being alive in the face of bad news reports, things you wish weren't going on, tragedies that are happening to other people if they're not happening to you. It's important, your capacity to be with all that and to carry on, to carry on, to recover yourself, build your strength, stamina, capacity. Again, if it leaks away, if it everything falls apart, you can whine, you can even sob, you can feel tragic, and then go into your calm, go into that spatial stillness, regroup, and start again. It's all there is to do right now. There isn't anything else. We're operating on behalf of all life now, empathically, whether we like it or not. Our shields are down. Our coping skills are dissolving. Our challenge of actually being in unity with life again is before us, regardless of circumstance. We are now not only experiencing being part of everything else, which is actually the beginning, is a good beginning. It actually means that the more empathic humanity gets, the less interest in harming each other it will become. See if you can operate on behalf of all life. In the greater regions of creation, creation is operating on behalf of all life. And some things it can get to sooner than others. Notice what you measure your life by. You know, today, as these few days are celebrating Earth Day, we're Earth. Do you know that? We're one of the creatures of Earth. We have a right to be here. We have the right to be in the beauty of our own existence. And when we can't, we have to find it anyway. I don't think we have any idea what the next 6 years will hold, particularly the next three. I think if we think things are back to normal, we should take advantage of it, enjoy it, have our day in the sun. But in the meantime, build our strength, stamina, capacity for whatever might be around the corner so that we're ready. As Rabbi Gelberman said, the man who ordained me in the ministry of a unity, how would he call it? I'm a universal, I can't think what it's called. Anyway, I'm one of those ministers that can marry anyone, bury anyone, be by the side of the dying anyone. So if you can hear me, please take what I said in deeply. Being a seer, being a prophetess, we see. We can tell you how to prepare for what's coming, but only you can take on what's coming even before it gets here. By building your strength, stamina, capacity to be as awake and alive as possible under any circumstances, under any feeling, under any effect, under any challenge. Our earth can. She keeps recovering. She keeps finding a way. So can we.